After being adopted by a wealthy family, Peter got almost everything a young boy could dream of. Yet he spent little time with his adoptive father, James. Only now, after reading Peter's Christmas letter, James was faced with a realization. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. After losing his biological parents when he was only 3 years old, Peter was in foster care for 2 years. Just before his 5th birthday, he met his foster parents, a sweet woman named Heather and a tall, stocky man named James. The couple welcomed Peter into their home, which was unlike anything he had seen before. "This is even bigger than the White House," he said. Heather laughed and gave him a tour. Over the next year, Peter developed a close bond with his adoptive mother, who taught him how to cook and helped him with his homework. James always seemed to be busy. He was either on a business trip or distracted in his home office. Heather was doing her best to keep Peter busy and happy, but she knew he might find her interests too girly. "Mom, how do car engines work?" Peter asked once. He was pointing to one of James' classic cars, with part of the engine sticking out of the hood. "I don't know, Peter. Your dad made it like that," Heather replied. When Peter tried to ask James how the car worked, his father pushed him away. "I'm in a meeting, Peter. Go out with your mom for the day," James replied, handing Peter some money. At first, Peter was okay with the fact that his father was always busy. Peter was able to buy all the latest toys and games. Sometimes his friends at school started to get jealous, but Peter didn't brag. In fact, he shared his toys with them. His friends didn't know that Peter was becoming more and more jealous of them. One friend, Kieran, told stories about the time he spent with his father. "Last weekend we went fishing, and my dad caught a spotted bass," explained Kieran. Although he had a lot of cool stuff, Peter began to quietly envy his friends' close ties to their dads. When Peter tried to talk to his dad about doing more activities together, he was rebuffed. "I'm sorry, son. I have to stay focused on my work. Money doesn't grow on trees, you know," James told him. As the Christmas vacations approached, Peter's friends bragged about their Christmas plans and traditions, but James had nothing planned for them. Peter became frustrated and decided to write a letter to Santa. Heather found Peter's letter and wondered what he had asked for. He already had all the latest toys. When Heather read the letter, she was heartbroken. She went to James' office to show him what Peter had written. "I think it's time to get your priorities straight, James. Our son is desperate to spend time with you. Here is his letter to Santa. Come on, read it. Maybe it will change something in you," Heather said as she handed the letter to James. At first, James was still distracted by his work and didn't read the letter right away. Once his meetings for the day were over, he finally read the letter. "Dear Santa, I don't know if you remember me. Over a year ago, I wrote to you and told you that I really wanted a father because I was alone in the foster home. I am very grateful for what you did. You really gave me a new mom and dad. At first, I loved him very much, but I don't think he loves me back. Every time I try to spend time with him, he's busy with something. All my friends do cool stuff with their dad, but I get toys and games. I don't want money. I want to do stuff with him. I don't think he really wants me to be his son. I know I ask for a lot, but for my Christmas present, I want a different dad." The letter read. James burst into tears at his desk as he finished reading Peter's wish. He realized that he had spent so much time working to provide a better life for Peter that he hadn't even taken the time to connect with him. James knew then that he had to change. He called his business partner and told him he was taking a month off for personal reasons. He then booked 3 plane tickets to New York. After dinner that night, James pulled Heather aside to talk to her. "I'm going to make sure Peter stays in the living room to watch TV for a while. You go pack his bags. I booked us 3 tickets to New York," James whispered. "Oh my God, when do we leave?" Heather asked. "First thing in the morning," replied James. When Peter went to bed that night, he was completely unaware. The next morning, Peter was awakened by his father. "Are you ready to go, boy?" James asked. Peter was visibly confused when he saw his mother standing at the door with suitcases. "Where are we going?" Peter asked. "We're going to spend Christmas in the Big Apple, little guy," James replied. Peter jumped out of bed in a hurry and got ready at lightning speed. Peter was over the moon with excitement. This was his first time flying. When the three of them arrived in New York, they visited several attractions. Peter was especially excited about the Rockefeller Christmas tree and the ice rink. After treating themselves to a few stays in the city, Peter, Heather, and James shared a hearty Christmas dinner. "Listen, buddy, I know I've been really busy lately, but I'm going to stop putting in such long hours. You and I are going to spend a lot more time together. That's a promise," James told Peter. At the end of their trip to New York, Heather talked to James as they were packing. "So this morning, Peter comes to me and asks if it's too late to write Santa again. I told him we can always write to Santa. He hands me another letter," Heather said as she handed James an envelope. James read the letter, and a big smile broke out on his face. "Dear Santa, I don't want another father. Forgive me for bothering you. I love my father. I bet you didn't give me another one because you knew mine was great. Thanks for the best Christmas ever," the letter said. From that point on, James always made an effort to spend more time with Peter and Heather. What can we learn from this story? Money can't buy happiness. Even though he had all the toys and games a boy could want, Peter really needed a father figure in his life. Family always comes first. Although James provided everything his family needed financially, he neglected the good times.